Back now, I want to talk about the sale. Now, the upcoming Ohio sale on February the 11th, not the 12th, the 11th. We entered 10 horses in it. The last two were race horses. We'll talk about them in a minute. But we'll start. I think I got them in alphabetical order. So the first horse we have entered into the sale is Anteros. Obviously, Anteros, it's not his fault, the bugger. You know, he tries. He's just not physically mature enough yet. We've been in 2-8. I would like to qualify him before the sale if we could. But if we can't, we can't. Anteros is a horse that could come back and be a decent racehorse, and I hope he does. You know, everybody thinks that we sell these horses and we're like sitting at home like little Meisners. We're just hoping that they do terrible so that we can laugh and giggle to ourselves. That's not it. We price the horses, we sell the horses, and that's it. And I hope they all do good. Listen, I watched Lincoln James's race from the other night. Finally won his race in Ohio after selling him in Harrisburg. Good for him. I want to see these horses do good too. I don't want to see them just fall off a cliff when they leave here. That's ridiculous. So Anteros, I hope to see Anteros in the future racing here in Ontario or wherever. Number 2, Classic Con. Classic Con just hasn't done enough, has he? You know, we didn't pay a ton of money for him. We only paid, I think, $10,000 for him at the time. He trained down okay. Another horse that just hasn't put on the bulk that he will, but I'm certain this horse will show up as a racehorse at some point down the road. Number 3 is Easton Ivy. Now, that's my horse, Easton Ivy. Easton Ivy's probably worth $9,000 or $10,000 US, maybe a little bit more. And I think he made a break the other night, but I saw him jogging today. He had a little scar, a little mark on his right hind on the inside. So I'm pretty sure I know what happened. He just kind of got running in a bit, hit that right hind ankle where a lot of trotters do, and he just rolled off. Wasn't his night, but he's not what you would say call a breaker. He wasn't anyway. So I suspect we'll race Easton Ivy back this week, and all will be good. What else do we got here? Number 4, 5-run homer. I don't think I have to explain too much about 5-run homer being in the sale. I mean, he raced better the other night. But the problem I have with 5-run homer is you can see, put his gait, his speed that he can exhibit sometimes. This horse should be a 53, 54 pacer. Instead, he's pretty comfortable around 58, 57, and I think that's mostly work ethic. I tell you guys all the time about the 2-year-olds. I want to see a hard-working horse. I want to see a horse with a good work ethic and a good attitude, and they can accomplish almost anything their body will allow them. And there's another side to that coin, right? The flip side of that is sometimes when they have bad attitudes and a poor work ethic, it's really just frustrating. And I'm frustrated with 5-run homer. He's worth decent money. I mean, he's okay. He raced good the other night. But at the same time, he's going to run out of classes here in Ontario at some point. Number 5, Gold Watch. Gold Watch, another horse, just couldn't get his act together just yet. He'll likely be qualified by the time he goes to the sale, but just didn't pan out the way we wanted him to. Jailhouse Master, I decided to put him in the sale. He's not going to be ready to start back until close to the sale time. So at the same time, what are we going to do? He got injured at the end of last year. We're going to start him back. He's not going to be ready till June. If we're talking about a horse that we thought was a fantastic animal, yeah, take the time. But he's just a horse, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I really can't make an argument to keep Jailhouse Master. I protected him because he was supposed to be back jogging January 1st, not middle of February. There's quite a difference there. And at the end of the day, it just made no sense to keep him. We are at number 7, Road Tripper. It kills me to do this. He may not make the sale either, but Road Tripper just hasn't been racing that well. He had his soreness issues when he started, but I gave him time. This horse that I personally protected for a long time, and I'll continue to if he shows me enough. Now, Kevin told me he thought that he would be a little bit better his next start. He needed one more week with him, so he'll race next week. Right now, tentatively scheduled as number 7 from the stable going to the sale. Number 8, Round Midnight. If any of these horses really haven't got a great shot yet, it's him. But I just look at how poor his attitude was. And again, work ethic and attitude make up a lot of my decisions. And Round Midnight, he's got 2.5 weeks or so to prove it to me. But he's going to have to prove it to me. And I've not been impressed with his attitude at all. But he hasn't had a lot of chance to show me what I needed to, or needed to see whether it was good or bad. It just, sale is February 11th. And when I'm looking at this horse, I'm just saying, I see his sister, Capistrano, and how hard she tried to be a good horse and how little this guy tries. And it just frustrates me, I think. So, Round Midnight, as again, tentatively scheduled as number 8, leaving the stable and into the sale on February 11th. Number 9, Rose Run Wanda. Again, this is another horse, the next 2 horses that I've tried, and I've worked with. Just bad attitude. Her and the last one try to tease me. Very, very similar attitudes. They just don't want to get it done. And, you know, you can say, well, what about when the cork's off? Well, what about this? What about that? Okay, what about the horses that aren't looking for those excuses? What about the ones that want to go out and work? What about the horses that you know you have to slow down with because their knees are bothering them, but they're okay doing their work right now, seemingly? That's different. You know, sure, there might be some issues with Rose Run Wanda or Try to Tease Me, but I don't see them wanting to work through them, right? I see them looking for the exit every time you go with them, jogging or training, looking for their way out, and I don't like that. So it usually leads to a poor animal. I could be wrong. It is early. I think I've been pretty close and bang on to a lot of predictions as far as bad attitudes go this time of year heading forward. And I see some problems on the horizon for both Rose Run Wanda, although she did look better today in the barn. See how she looks tomorrow on the track, and Try to Tease Me. So there's 10 horses tentatively scheduled for the upcoming sale on February the 11th. I'll be back in a minute. We're going to talk about all the barns and what's going on with them. Back in just a minute.